Hello everybody. Okay, so today I'm going to show you guys how you can make arm socks for Homestuck cosplay like this. You can pretty much do this in any color, I guess, if you want to. Like if maybe you cosplay someone who's not from Homestuck and they have different colored skin and you don't feel like painting your arms or your hands, so this makes it a lot easier. So I've only done one, this hand, so I'm going to show you guys on this other one how you can make an arm sock. So the things that you're going to need, you're obviously going to need tights, whatever color tights, obviously gray. For any of the trolls, you're going to need a few pins, a hand sewing needle, preferably a small one. Let me see, like just a small one is going to be the one you're going to want. You're going to want gray thread or whatever color matching your tights. Some sewing scissors, and you're going to want clear nail polish. I know it looks green, but this is actually clear. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to flip. You're going to want to turn your tights inside out, and you want to cut the seam off where the toe is. And then after that, you want to cut a hole in the crotch, because this is the part where your head's going to go through, and this is part's going to go on your chest, and that's where you're going to wear your socks. So you have this, the top of the toe is cut off, and you're going to go ahead, you're going to want to measure these 4 fingers. You're going to do your thumb last. So basically line up your 4 fingers to the sock like this, and then where your fingers end, you're going to want to put pins in there. Make sure the head of the pin is where your fingers end here. Okay, so I have put 4 pins into the tip of my sock, and this will basically be your first 4 fingers. After we sew the first 4 fingers, then we'll be doing the thumb. It's just going to fit better to your hand if you do the thumb last. If you try to do all 5 fingers right now, there's a big chance that they're not going to fit. So what you want to do is, after you have your socks pinned and your fingers match up, go ahead and take your sewing scissors and just cut down in the middle until you reach the end of the pin. Okay, so you're basically going to have 4 different sections with a pin in each. The pinky and the index finger, you're only going to have to sew one side of it because obviously the edge is already here. So what we're going to want to do, I usually have to start with the index finger first. Let's see, and go ahead and get your needle and your thread, whatever color. I like to double up my thread because I feel like it gets a little more stronger just because of what we're doing. Okay, so now that we have a decent amount of thread on our needle, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start to sew. Even though we only have to sew one side of the index finger, I still like to sew a little bit onto the side where it's already connected, just to give it a little extra support, just in case something were to happen, like maybe a hole would appear. Go ahead and keep the pin in the finger where you're sewing, just so it kind of stays together until you're about halfway through or finished with the finger, whatever you want to do. The kind of stitch, the name of the stitch escapes my mind, but basically you want to do kind of like a circular motion, so you put your needle in, and you basically are just going around, basically. And try to keep your stitches as close together as possible, because that's going to give you better results in the long run. So just keep sewing in like a circular motion. And this is the part that takes most of the time, is the sewing, because you have to be pretty patient to want to, you know, sew this together pretty much. Like I said before, you want to keep your stitches pretty close together. It's going to get the best results, and also you won't have to use as much nail polish in the end. So basically, yeah, you want to go do all of the fingers, and I'll get back to you once I have all of these fingers sewn together. Okay, so right now I am just halfway through. I just wanted to tell you, when you're working on the fingers that you're sewing both sides, you're going to notice that the top is going to kind of curl a little bit. Just to kind of help you out, if you want to, you can just pin the top of that together. Also wanted to give just one more tip. When you're sewing like in between the fingers here, I would recommend just doing a couple extra stitches there, you know, just in case, just to give it a little extra strength and just a little extra at the tip of the where the finger would be. Alright, so now that we have the 4 fingers sewn, go ahead and try it on. And as you can see, some of the fingers are way too tall. Like, the only one that actually fits right would be my middle finger. So what you want to do is, see the access here, you're going to want to take a pin and go ahead and just pin right above where your finger actually is. That way, that's going to be your guide to where you're going to snip that part off and you're going to sew it back on. So go ahead and just pin all the fingers that you need to adjust just right above the finger, just so you don't poke yourself. And okay, so you have pins in. Go ahead and take your glove off and go ahead and snip the tops off of the ones that need to be snipped off, and then go ahead and then sew the tips back together. Alright, so now that your fingers are all like to the right size they need to be, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do the thumb. So what you want to do is go ahead and take your glove off very carefully. Okay. And what you want to do is go ahead and just place your hand just like on top of the glove and just kind of like measure with your eye kind of where you need to cut the thumb. You're going to kind of do like a curved cut about where the index finger ends here. So you're going to want to start your cut basically not too far in. Basically start it and go down a little bit, because you can always make it a little short at the top if you need to. So go ahead, and then your cut should look something like this. Right, so it should be something like this. And that's where you're going to go ahead and you're going to sew that up. Okay, so when you're done, you should have something like this. Now, if you are, since I'm actually working on my right hand, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to switch, because I'm actually right-handed and this next part is going to be easier. So I suggest putting the glove onto your non-dominant hand, because we're going to start using the nail polish. So basically, you want to be kind of gentle when you're putting the glove on, just because you haven't sealed it yet. And that way, also just test it out to make sure it fits on both your hands. It should, unless your hands are like really weird, and for some reason one's bigger than the other. But just kind of slide just gently, kind of just slide them down, just so they fit. And this part is extremely important. When you are putting the nail polish onto the seams, don't put them on the seams when it's not on your hand. If you put them on the seams just like this, the nail polish is going to shrink up and it's not going to fit in your fingers anymore. You want to make sure that you wait till the nail polish is completely dry while it's on your hand, or else you're not going to be able to put your arm socks on, because the finger holes are going to be way too small. So go ahead and take your clear nail polish, and we're going to go ahead and just start filling the seams. Just go on top of the seams with your clear nail polish. This is going to go ahead and give it like a seal. I would personally like to do 2 coats on the inside. So go ahead and just make sure to get all the seams. After the first coat dries, we'll go ahead and do a second coat. And the second coat, sometimes what I would like to do is just put a little extra on the inner corners of your fingers and the tips of your fingers, and just anywhere where you think you need a little extra support. And it's okay if you go off the seam a little bit, like if it goes into your thumb, because it's just going to dry pretty clear and you'll hardly see it anyway. So it's okay if you accidentally drip some on your hand. That's fine too. It's not going to be very noticeable anyway. Also, for this will vary depending on the person, but for me, just sewing this this one hand took me about 2 hours to do. Depending on how fast or slow you are at sewing, it will vary, and also your skill level too. I'm not the best hand sewer ever, but I have been hand sewing a lot and for a while, so I have a little experience with that. So it really depends on how slow or fast or how good you are, what your skill level is for your sewing. I did this one yesterday because I wouldn't be able to sit there and do both hands. So if you have the willpower and you have the patience to do both hands in one day, then bravo to you. And I just spilled some on my finger, but that's okay. I'll just kind of wipe that away. Also, I didn't experience any runs in my tights, but if you do, while you're sewing, if you do happen to come across a run, or maybe you see one after you try your glove on, right away put a little bit of nail polish on there. That is going to help stop the run. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to finish up this first coat, and I'll be right back. So after your first layer is dry, you can go back if you want to and just kind of put a little second coat in like the certain areas where you think you'd need, like in between the fingers. And I've already done that. So what you want to do is go ahead and wait for your nail polish to dry on your glove. This could take about 5 to 10 minutes, so just, wave your hand back and forth, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So just, just find something to do while you're waiting for your nails, or not your nails, sorry, your gloves to dry, so you can just throw down some stick fires or whatever. But, or listen to some music, watch some Thundercats, do whatever you want. And then I'll come back to you when everything's all dry, and I'll show you what to do next. Okay, so now, you can go ahead and just slide your socks on your arms, and they'll go ahead and they're just going to look something like this. So that's basically, and I guess if you really want to do something about these coming off the shoulders, you could attach them somehow, but since I'll be wearing these with short sleeve shirts, probably I won't have to worry about that. But this is basically what they look like when you put them on, obviously underneath whatever shirt you're going to be wearing. So yeah, and that is basically how you make your arm socks. Alright, hope you enjoyed it.